Better late than never, it's finally time to talk about Raccoon Lagoon. Hey Questers, and welcome to another episode of BMF, the unofficial home for all things Oculus Quest. Keep up to date on Quest news, game reviews, and the latest developments by subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. Huge shout out to the devs for sending me a copy of this game to review. Raccoon Lagoon is one of the games I have really been looking forward to on the Quest since it was announced. The graphical style, gameplay, concept all reminded me of a Harvest Moon type of game, so I was stoked when I heard about it. But does it live up to my self-imposed hype? Let's jack in and find out.
Raccoon Lagoon is one of those games that feels less like a game and more like a life simulator, if you lived in a colorful world with little creatures and the ability to chop down a tree with 3 swings. In the game, you play as an island spirit who is charged with taking care of the nymphs after their boat crashes on your island. Help them to build a home while you explore all the areas and environments on the island. There are a total of 8 distinct areas with honestly a massive amount to do in each area. From the story quests to just building, growing, mining, cooking, and more, there is more content here than I could have asked for. I've already spent between 4 and 5 hours in the game, and I keep getting sidetracked with collecting items, upgrading, farming, so I still haven't even finished the story quests yet. Let's start off with the graphics in the game. Graphically, I love the style of Raccoon Lagoon. It reminds me so much of Harvest Moon style games that it almost feels familiar. The cartoonish nymphs and the island environments pop with color, and everything feels alive and it looks sharp. Audibly, the game works really well too. The nymphs have their own little language, but the environmental sounds and the sound effects really work well to immerse you in the game. One thing that I wasn't expecting with the game is essentially no load times between areas, except for when the storm does come to end your day. The game allows you to explore the entire island, which is considerably larger than I thought, and it loads and renders in real time instead of having to load between each area. The only exception is when you enter into a shop or building of one of the nymphs. Speaking of shops and buildings, let's move over to the gameplay. Like I mentioned before, there is more to do in this game than almost any other game on the Quest so far, and considering it's just $15, that's huge. As you help the nymphs build their home on your island, you will collect items from animals, trees, mining, trading, fishing, so many different things. Once you start helping them build their shops, you can start upgrading your items like your pickaxe, watering can, and fishing pole. I love the fact that you can walk over to any tree and just chop it down as long as you have the right axe, or buy seeds to plant an entire garden of food, or stand out on the pier and fish. Each of these activities is fun and it feels completely natural. Even though it's a small thing, I love that I can chop at a tree from any spot or side on the tree, and that is where it falls. It's small stuff like that in this game that really adds a deeper level of immersion. The game itself plays great and the mechanics work well. I've seen some people who have struggled with some motion sickness based on the smooth motion, but unfortunately that is the only method of locomotion right now. It takes a little getting used to as well because your character sits lower to the ground than seems right. The devs apparently did this so you wouldn't have to keep bending over and picking things up, plus everything in the game is on a smaller scale so it does work well. I also love the inventory system and it's super easy to access all the items you pick up. The tracking in the game works wonderfully as well, and I didn't have any issues with losing my hands or getting stuck. One minor gripe I do have with the game is that it seems to be a little bit buggy at times. I've been kicked out a few times either to the Oculus menu or with the screen going black, so I have to exit the game and start over. It doesn't happen constantly, but it happened at least once each time I played. But I imagine that the devs are working on a fix for this in a patch or update. One other thing that this game has is the multiplayer aspect. I haven't had the chance to check out hanging out with people and partying it up in the game, but I have visited a couple of other people's islands, and aside from just looking around, I'm not really sure what to do with it. The islands all look identical, except for if they have progressed farther in the game.
Raccoon Lagoon is probably some of the most fun I've had on the Quest so far. It's not a head-exploding blood fest with bullets flying, or a fast-paced action game with a deep enthralling story, but that's totally okay with me. From the gameplay to the visuals, I can't wait to get back into this game and keep helping my little nymph friends. Needless to say, as far as I'm concerned, it's exactly what I was hoping for, and I highly recommend it. If you're looking for other Oculus Quest games, check out our other reviews here. Also, please help me out by liking and sharing this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for future Oculus Quest content on BMF, the unofficial home for all things Oculus Quest. Happy questing.